Suburban Commando, directed by Burt Kennedy and released in October 1991, drops intergalactic warrior Shep Ramsey, played by Hulk Hogan, into the quiet cul-de-sacs of Earth after his ship is damaged during a mission. Stranded on our planet, Shep shacks up with a meek architect played by Christopher Lloyd and quickly turns the neighborhood into a low-stakes war zone. Shelley Duvall plays the world's most tolerant housewife, and a pre-Undertaker Mark Calloway shows up as one of the bounty hunters sent to retrieve Shep. Shot around Southern California on an $11 million budget, the movie leans hard into fish-out-of-water gags, cartoon sound effects, and Hogan's mullet-era charisma. It barely broke even at the box office, but found a second life on VHS shelves and as a cornerstone of early 90s cable. What is up, everybody? I am Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson. With me is Chris Anonymous, and this is a show where we like to talk about all the good, the bad, and the schlock of movies you might not remember. And today we are talking about Suburban Commando. What's up, Chris? This was your idea. This is a last-minute show. I should say we're still going to do the Redwood Massacre, so no one freak out. We're going to do the Redwood Massacre on August 18th. A fortnight from like we should do this. That is a fortnight.
With Hogan's passing, I was just thinking about like icons from my childhood, and I was thinking about movies he was in, and I'm like, we should get another one under a belt. We did Santa with Muscles, and we should do something a little more.
We got to do peak Hogan. For me, this is peak Hollywood Hogan.
This is peak Hogan. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Within the past couple of weeks, so Hulk Hogan passed away, and also Ozzy Osbourne. It's just crazy that like these two huge icons of pop culture went away within such a short time of each other. It's really crazy. I know that actors and musicians, they come and go, and it really affects the people that really love what they did. I would say that I was never like I was never a Hulkamaniac, right? I had the brief stint in junior high where I was into wrestling.
Right.
I was never a huge Ozzy Osbourne fan, probably more of an Ozzy fan than a Hulk fan, just because music was like such a large part of my life.
Right.
But these two guys, I feel like they really shaped like pop culture as we know it to some extent.
Well, they became bigger than what they did. I also never had a huge wrestling phase. It's a small one, but Hulk, I knew him as a wrestler, not because of wrestling, but because of movies he was in, because of cartoons, like the Saturday morning wrestling cartoon. I watched that a lot more than wrestling. Not that I didn't watch wrestling. I had friends who were really into it, but he was more of like a pop icon who happened to be a wrestler in the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. And I think Ozzy definitely had the music to back everything up, but his also was he was a character, right? He definitely had a persona that he played into that was part of pop culture, especially I would say early 80s to mid 90s, and then again in the 2000s in a different way. But I agree with you. They were definitely bigger than the medium of art that they worked in.
Right. Icons.
Yeah.
All right.
Someone said that earlier. You did.
So, I mean, we thought it would just be cool to, I don't know, pay some respect. So we thought we would do this. There really aren't a ton of Ozzy movies, right? Maybe some cameos. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is Little Nicky, but not a full length Ozzy film. And yes, hey, Castellar Daniel Garcia, thank you for joining us. The Undertaker is in this movie. Apparently it was before he was actually the Undertaker. We'll probably get into that in a little bit.
Yep.
But real quick, I'll just ask this question since it's brought up. The other bounty hunter, was that a wrestler as well, or is that just
I believe that's just a character actor, what I was researching.
Okay. All right.
But
Well,
like he could have been a wrestler. Totally.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It may have been a bodysuit or something, but he looked pretty buffed out, right?
Missed opportunity if he isn't a wrestler.
Right. So the way this show works, we talk about the good, the bad, and the schlock, what we like, what we didn't like, and then we talk about kind of themes of the movie, big ideas, things that stood out to us. Let's see. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, I would really love it if you went and rated the show and left a review. If you're watching on YouTube, we ask you to do all sorts of stuff, but if you're listening to it as a podcast, you just have to rate it. Super duper easy. We'd really appreciate it. So let's get on to the show with our next segment called Web of Schlock. And what's this all about, Chris?
This is just we kind of run through the people on the show and some of the people behind the scenes. So the director, Burt Kennedy, this was his last feature, but before this, worked in TV, but tons of movies, a lot of Westerns, the Train Robbers, the War Wagon, Support Your Local Sheriff, Support Your Local Gunfighter, Return of the Seven, which was a sequel to the Magnificent Seven. He didn't do the original, but he did the sequel. But just a working director, and just there's a lot of Westerns and a lot of cool things in his catalog to dive into. A lot of it's on Tubi too, if you want to watch some.
Nice.
The writer, Frank A. Capello, he wrote No Way Back. He wrote He Was a Quiet Man. He also directed those. He seems like a writer-director, still working today. Before this, or around this time, he directed American Yakuza. But the thing that's going to put him into like the schlock and kind of our thing is he wrote Constantine.
Oh, wow. With John Wick.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves.
Constantine with John
Neo?
Wick guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, that's really interesting. I mean, this is pretty much like a prequel to John Wick in a lot of, not John Wick, to Constantine in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think so.
You can see it, the transition. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then in front of the camera, man, what a cast. Okay, so we got Hogan. Before this, he was in No Holds Barred, which is a great movie. Rocky 3, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, Mr. Nanny, Santa with Muscles, if you want to go watch the episode where we review that. Christopher Lloyd, man, what an icon. Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Addams Family, Addams Family Values. Recently, he was in Nobody, and I believe he's in the sequel. He was in Page
really?
Master. Yeah.
He was I don't know why this movie reminded me of it, because I think maybe it came out around the same time. But remember the Dennis the Menace movie?
Yes.
He was the drifter in that.
Yep, he was the drifter in Dennis the Menace.
I never knew that, and when I found that out, it blew my mind, because I only really knew him as Doc. Yeah, and that was like the first time I realized that he's like such an amazing character actor.
Oh, shit, one of my favorites. Yeah, so just so iconic. Shelley Duvall, Popeye, Annie Hall, The Shining, which is probably what she's most famous for. The first thing I think I saw her in was Tim Burton's original short film Frankenweenie.
Oh, really?
Yep. Larry Miller, who played the kind of his jerk boss in this. He was in Pretty Woman. He was in The Nutty Professor, A Mighty Wind, 10 Things I Hate About You, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, tons of other movies. He's one of those character actors that you immediately recognize, and you're like, where do I know him from?
Yeah, and he's so funny in everything.
Yeah, his timing is so good. And then we have like classic Jack Elam, the neighbor.
Yeah,
man. Once Upon a Time in the West, Lonesome Dove, Cannonball Run, tons of Westerns. He was in Support Your Local Sheriff, directed by Burt Kennedy. In fact, there's several movies. Okay. There are several movies that he starred in, directed by Burt Kennedy. So that's a cool connection where you're like, hey, I need you to play this weird war vet neighbor, just a little cameo. But I mean, what a scene chewing, great little role.
Oh, yeah, I love that character.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in Schlock. Then we have Mark Calloway, as we all know, as the Undertaker. As soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh, that's the Undertaker. I totally forgot he was in this. Again, I wasn't a giant wrestling fan, but he was definitely one of my favorites when I did watch wrestling with friends and stuff. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
the Undertaker was awesome. So it was really cool seeing him. And he has just such an iconic face, right? Just that his height and his face and his like that deadpan glare, perfect for an alien bounty hunter.
Yeah, see, I didn't know it when I originally saw the movie, probably because he wasn't the Undertaker then. But
same,
seeing it now, instant recognition, right? Like, yeah,
yep. And last we have Michael Faustino, who played the son in this, who we saw before when we reviewed Monster Squad because he played Eugene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So lots of connections to other Schlocky films, famous films, films we reviewed, classic films. Just it's quite a crazy web of schlock. But when you have this good of a cast, I could keep going. Oh, and I believe the little girl with the cat, it was a really young Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah, that's what I've read.
Yeah. So again, I'm like, man, what is this cast doing in this movie? But I'm glad they're here. So that's it for Web of Schlock.
Did you mention the main villain?
No, I did not. I did not.
Has he done anything?
Yes,
I always remembered him as what's his name, Michael Ironside.
Yeah, he looks similar to Michael Ironside, but that is not him.
Yeah.
I believe he was in. Let me pull it up. I want to say Amadeus and some other like kind of like.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So here we go.
So he's not off the street.
No. And where's Amadeus, The Cutting Edge, Beauty and the Beast. He was King Balor in Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
Oh wow.
So again, stuff before and stuff after.
Stuff I've absolutely seen, but like haven't recognized him in.
You know, when they're in heavy makeup like that, or when they have an important role but a small role, you just get that vibe of like, I've seen him before, but you don't necessarily remember where.
Yeah. Well, he did a great job in this for sure.
He did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Before we move on from Web of Schlock, I've been meaning to do this for like 2 episodes now. We have a correction we need to make. From a previous Web of Schlock. Clear back from Jaws 2. A viewer pointed this out. Stool 6377 says, just to let you know, Lorraine Gary wasn't in Jaws 3D.
Oh no, so we addressed it during the show.
Did we? That was such a crazy show.
It was a crazy show, but no, they called me on it right after I said it, and I'm like, oh okay. yeah, it's she returns for part 4, but she was not in part 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that and I was like, we're gonna mention it in the show because we're gonna get it right.
Yeah, with due diligence, man. I'd rather correct something twice than not correct something. We try our bestest.
Lord knows we don't hardly ever make mistakes. So anyway, on to the schlock of the show. So we really had to stop ourselves from talking about this before the show actually started. So I think we have a lot to talk about here. We both saw this basically when we were kids, and I don't think really saw it since.
No, right? I have not seen this since the early 90s.
Here's the thing. I can't remember if I actually saw it in theaters or not, but I definitely saw it on television. And the crazy thing about watching it on television is that, I mean, back in the day, you know, your dad's in control of the remote, or the adults are like changing the channels, right? You're a kid and you don't get to watch what you want to watch. Right. So channels are changing. And so you just get to see like snippets of these movies. And to me, this movie it felt much bigger than it actually is. Not that this isn't a galactic spanning movie, correct? But it seemed like more happened in this movie than maybe actually happens in this movie, because I
Yeah.
saw everything out of order.
Right. And certain things, parodying Star Wars and other things like that make it feel huge. Like that intro, if that's all you see, and then you see other parts in it, you're like, oh, this is a space spanning movie. But yeah, no, it's smaller. It's a smaller contained story within that Star Wars-esque world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you have for Schlock, Chris?
I mean, the whole thing's pretty schlocky, but the FX, I thought, while really good, really leaned into the schlock. Very fun. The 80s style crazy neighbors. I know this is a 90s movie, but it felt late 80s. Like just that idea, very Burbs to me, of like, we're just going to have, the weird guys into drag racing who are real jerks for neighbors. We're going to have the war vet who's just sitting on his lawn in uniform on a
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a very 80s, like, it's a quirky neighborhood in the burbs.
Yeah, mentioning the Burbs, man, that really puts together a lot of pieces, and maybe some of the problems I have with this movie, because the Burbs brings that all together in the end, whereas this just introduces you to it.
Correct. Yeah. And then the thing I want to talk about here is the kind of meta requirements of casting are after you cast.
Okay, interesting.
So I think the moment that it really hit me was once he tips the car upside down, and Christopher Lloyd gets him to stop, he goes back and he spins the car around, right? And I'm like, maybe if it was a different actor in this role, they would have done that. But again, they're showing off Hogan being Hogan.
Right.
The Hulkster being the Hulkster. And then you have lines like, what is this, a tag team? So there's meta references to
There's a lot
wrestling.
of wrestling references in this.
Right. Yeah. And so at one point in time in the history of this was going to be a possible vehicle following with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger, because they were kind of that, right? And I'm like,
Urban Commando.
And it would have been very similar, but also very different. But I'm just thinking, like, if you cast a comedian in a role, then you're obligated to have him do something funny, unless it's against type, right? So it just got me thinking of, like, how much of the movie changes, or what expectations do we have as viewers when you cast a really up and coming, very popular wrestler in one of his, like, first or second or third movies. It's just interesting to think what you have to do.
Well,
you don't have to do it. Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of punch up in this script, things that were written in maybe afterward. It was a different script prior. It looks like there's only one writer on it, which because of all the punch up and the different things in it, and maybe some of the dangling story threads in it, it makes me wonder, how many hands did this actually pass through? Right. Maybe it started off as Urban Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Right. He can definitely do things like spin the car around and lift up like power tools and bench press them. But he wouldn't make the wrestling references.
Correct.
Right. That's definitely stuff added in once you get your pro wrestler attached to the film.
Yeah. And even with Schwarzenegger, like, he's strong and he's powerful, and you're going to have some of that, but it felt like he's still an actor first, right? Whereas this guy was a wrestler first. So it feels like
he was a bodybuilder first.
Well, he was a bodybuilder.
He was a strong man.
But by the time this comes out, he's kind of done with that a little bit. I mean, it's still going to be there in all his movies.
He's fully transitioned into a different profession.
Correct. And here it's not. He's clearly still a wrestler in a movie with actors. But it works. But it's really interesting to think about, like, does it take you out of the movie? Does it add something to the movie? It's an interesting thing to like pull back and look at.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the wrestling references definitely didn't pull me out of the movie, because I think
No,
it's very clearly like this is Hulk Hogan in Suburban
right.
Commando,
Correct.
right? It could be this is Hulk Hogan in Jaws. This is Hulk Hogan in A
Right.
Midsummer's Night Dream, right?
And it
Like
didn't
it
pull me
has to
out
play to him.
either. But that's the interesting part, is that it didn't pull me out.
Yeah, nor should it.
Nor, but it could if it were a different actor in a different film doing different things.
Well,
Like,
I think what would have pulled you out of it, I'm guessing, is if it was Hulk Hogan in Suburban Commando and he was trying to like deliver Shakespeare, right? Really play
right.
against type. I
Right.
think that maybe would have been hard at that point in his career.
Yeah.
And then later we get Mr. Nanny, where we put him in a tutu and stuff.
So what do you have for Schlock, sir?
So I want to kind of keep on this idea that it was twins first, because like I said, it I just wonder how many hands it passed through, because I can't really talk about anything else without getting into something that I think is kind of bad, and that's all of the dangling storylines. And so going through this movie, I think it has like such a strong setup, but ultimately it has a pretty weak ending. And so it makes me wonder like how many rewrites there were in this thing. In Schlock, we try and find, what are some themes of the movie?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this movie there are two themes stated. And so that's I think like maybe the first giveaway that there was another pass on
Right.
this. The first theme we get is sometimes you got to lose to win, when he's talking to the Colonel.
Yes.
Which I love that character. Hated that character never appears again. Like, because he gives him like such a important piece of information.
I mean, it basically tells him how to defeat the bad guy in Act 3.
Right. Exactly. And so it does land in the end. Like, it does pay off in the end, but it doesn't carry through the whole way. Like, I think it could have carried through as an overarching theme for the movie, because Charlie has to decide what to do with his job. And ultimately, Charlie quits his job. And that very much could have been sometimes you have to lose to win moment, right? Losing your job feels like you're losing. But in order for him to get to the next level of his life, he has to do it.
I mean, the other theme is definitely Christopher Lloyd's theme is, standing up for yourself, sticking up for yourself, not being a weakling, not getting walked all over. And I think that was a very strong theme, and I'll talk about that in the good. But you're right. There are a lot of loose ends here. There's a lot of extra fish out of water gags, a lot of Hulkster gags.
Mm-hmm.
The whole beginning is total Star Wars parody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the opening shot, minus the text crawl, the opening shot it's the beginning of Star Wars.
Right. And then there's the reference to aliens, which was a great line. So it's a very self-aware movie, and it's also like watching it now, it's meant for kids as well. And I wonder, going back to if it were like after Twins or something with Schwarzenegger and DeVito, if it would have been less of a kids movie and more of a family movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's,
I think this was sort of more of a family movie. You mean family in that it's like a little more mature?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's like cussing in it.
Oh yeah.
But there's also Looney Tunes stuff in it.
I think it could have been totally just what I'm calling a family movie right now, as opposed to a kids movie. But I think they tacked on or added in bits that make it very, very little kid. Mm-hmm. And you wonder how much of that was added in, doctored into the script after they have the, who they're casting and all that. Because it's a weird thing to say that it takes away from the seriousness of the movie.
Yeah. I
But
want a
like,
serious Suburban Commando movie.
not serious, but serious in the way that like Twins is serious, right? Like it's a comedy and it's silly and but
But there's some dramatic moments in it.
there's some dramatic moments and there's nothing in it that pulls you out so much. Just as like
It's not
we have to see
self-aware.
the mime 3 times, right? In this,
Yeah, which I love.
I loved the first couple, but again, some of it gets a little old. It would be interesting to see like how much it got adapted. Like, no, we're aiming instead of something you take the whole family to, we're going to aim it to like, yeah, your parents are taking your kids, or like go without me, and they drop the age down to like their target by like 5 or 6 years. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would have been like 7 when this movie came out, and like the mime stuff when he punches the mime, I remember rolling with laughter because it was such a shock to me. Like I remember thinking that was so funny, and some of the one-liners like antifreeze, and he's like drinking that stuff.
Oh yeah, there's still some great.
My parents
great
had to be
moments.
like, "Don't drink antifreeze. That you can't do that." I'm like, oh, okay.
They probably would have told me that even without the movie. But yeah, no, yeah, I it's just an interesting. When we get to the good, it's going to be weird because we're talking about how it feels kind of like pieced together and that there's all these loose ends, but there's still a really, really strong through line, which is interesting to me. What else?
Oh,
What
yeah.
else do you have
Yeah,
for
I
Schlock?
totally think so. Well, I think the other theme in the movie is they say at the end, Charlie says, maybe I'll become an intergalactic warrior, which means maybe he's learned to stand up for himself. And Ramsey says, yeah, and maybe I'll become a family man. And he says it kind of jokingly, but then he's got the secretary
Right.
in his spaceship.
Yeah, exactly.
And so do you think that theme successfully ran through the movie?
I think Charlie sticking up for himself ran through the whole movie really well. I think with Shep, it was there and then it wasn't there, and then it was there and then it wasn't there.
Well, I feel like it got introduced like halfway through the movie when they're at the party and they're going up the elevator, and he tells Charlie like you have everything. He's saying, you got beautiful kids, a beautiful wife,
right.
Like
but
that's a long way in.
That's where it gets put into concrete terms. But I think it's there from the beginning because he's off. Like, he let the president of the whatever galaxy die.
Yeah.
And it wasn't his fault per se. But again, his boss kind of hinted like, you're slipping. There's something missing. You need to take a vacation. You need to figure out what you're missing in life. And so I think going to see the family, he realizes like, so he's had that need and that want and that missing thing from the beginning of the movie, but he doesn't articulate exactly what it is until the elevator scene. And I don't think that's necessarily bad writing. I think it could have been fleshed out a little more, but again, he doesn't know what he wants. He's a fish out of water, and he sees this family. And so I do like the two-hand comedies where they both learn something from each other. Again, something like in Twins, right? Like that idea of the strong person teaches the weak person to stick up for themselves, and the weak person shows that like there's more to the world and life than just being this strong muscle man who goes around breaking stuff. Like there's family and like, what are you fighting for? So there's, can you fight? And what are you fighting for? And I think they kind of, they teach each other lessons, which is solid structure.
Yeah. I would agree. I think that is a great analysis of that. Whereas me, I was looking at it like, this movie is incomplete.
I think it's complete. I think there's just a lot of extra little things that go off that you're like, huh. For a short movie, if you shaved 5 to 10 minutes, it would be just rock solid.
If you shaved 5 to 10 minutes?
Yeah, or if you added 5 to 10 minutes of like stitching the story together.
See, I would go on the side of, I think it is missing like 10 more minutes.
Could we meet in the middle and say we can take 10 minutes out and put 10 minutes in of stuff that it needs?
Yes, because I think I think it really would have benefited from taking out the portion where Charlie follows him back to his ship and puts on the armor and like saves the girl and the
I'm going to disagree there, but keep going.
the bank heist scene. While I enjoyed it, I think all of that stuff could have been something different. And I know you're going to say that you disagree him putting on the armor because it's his first time feeling powerful, but I don't know if I don't know if it didn't play off exactly that way to me, just because he doesn't know how to use the armor and he gets shot and then like falls over. There's like this weird gag where I think maybe he's getting a boner in the armor because like the lights are flashing. Is that what's going on?
Yeah. That's because she just said I want to thank you any way I can. So yeah, that's 100% what's going on. Yeah, which is awkward. But no, I think that scene was not perfect, but it serves a really strong function, which I'll go into. I think the freezing thing was too long. Should we just move into the bad?
Sure. Let's go into the bad, because I can't talk about what I want to talk about without talking about the bad. So let's hit me with your bad.
Okay, so this is hard to qualify because it's doing what it meant to do, but it's a little cheesy. And I like cheese. But in some parts, I'm just like, oh man, even my like 8-year-old, 10-year-old self would have been like, seriously? Some of it's just spot on perfect. Like when he punches the mime the first time. I agree. Brilliant. Especially if you're a kid, like the kid version of me would have loved that. But there's some parts where I'm just like, oh, okay. Like it slightly crosses the line into too cheesy, which again, that's what it's going for. So is that bad, or is it just something I didn't like?
There are lines that are put in purely to get a laugh, and they're like unmotivated from the story. Like the whole what's he say? Like, see you later, camel breath, or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas like like written out, that sounds like a funny line, and I think that's something that would maybe get a kid to go camel breath. But it's unmotivated in any way from the story, right? Like he hasn't seen camels earlier. What's the association? Like he could have gotten a way better dig on him.
I mean, they should have had some kind of like dig that they used when he was in outer space, because these are aliens, right? And then it would have been a cool callback. Like it's wasted stuff, and you're right, it's unmotivated.
Or if we saw them in the honeymoon vehicle more. And he's like, see you later, honeymooners. Or I don't know.
Correct.
Like,
there's
something that he's seen to make fun of them.
A callback. Yes. There's a funnier callback. Exactly. I 100% agree. There's some filler stuff. And I think one of my biggest problems is there's a little too much fun and games. We get like 3 different fun and games sections, and they're just fish out of water gags. Just Hulkster doing his thing, being tough, misunderstanding, punching stuff. The first one I really liked. He has to save the cat, but it's a dog. But it's like, it's a great little moment. It's a fun sight gag. It gets you there. When Christopher Lloyd is following him back, I like the fact that he's seeing him do good deeds because he just saw these weapons at his house, which he's worried about with his kids.
Yeah.
So that fun and games really worked for me. But it just went on too long. And then they have another one when he's coming back, and it just felt like they didn't want to they were in love with all of their gags and one-liners and different bits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't do this many times in this short of a movie. It feels bloated.
Such a large portion of this movie was spent with him walking to one place, turning around and walking back. And then the next morning he goes for another walk.
Right, and trying to ride a skateboard and punching a mime multiple times and catapulting a cat and saving a woman, rescuing her. That's a good bit right there. Like fun and game, something where he actually saves someone that has weight to it, and then Christopher Lloyd comes on and sees that. It's smart storytelling, but again, they just tried to have their cake and eat it too, and it did not work for me. And that is my biggest bad.
And I think they could have. They just needed to spread that out more. They needed to montage it and just get it all done with, or they needed to sprinkle it in throughout the movie rather than having it just in one big fat chunk of a
they stop the story and just do him walking and doing gags. And like, again, the second one where Christopher Lloyd's following him and learning about him, I think was a really smart way to do that. The other two, the first one's where it's supposed to be, but it feels kind of, I don't know. It was just too much for me.
well, speaking of maybe bad gags or bad one-liners, and I don't know if this is a bad one-liner, but I thought it was interesting where they ask him where he's from, and he says France. Do you think that is a callback to, or not a callback, but a reference to Coneheads? Otherwise, again, like that's something that doesn't, it has no setup and it has no payoff.
Right.
Right. He doesn't like steal a Frenchman's clothes, or or Shelley Duvall never yells like, "It's okay, he's French."
Right. Exactly.
It's just said once and it never comes back.
Wasted opportunity. He should have saw something in the room that got him to say France, or he should have saw some location on the way to renting the apartment. So again, similar to the camel breath one-liner where it was put in there because like kids will think when he says France that it's funny because he's clearly not French.
Yeah.
And again, you want to get that cheap laugh from a 10-year-old, fine, but it's still weak writing.
Yeah.
And there was enough really good writing in this that like whoever punched, and I don't even know if the main writer did it, but whoever punched those things up, sometimes they hit and sometimes they just duds.
Right.
Which is probably any comedy with a lot of quips. Not every one-liner is going to work. So what do you got for bad?
Yeah. That's all your bad?
That's the bulk of it is just it's just the sloppy kind of middle, because there's a lot of really good in here, and there's a lot of schlock that I could probably put in bad, but yeah, that's my main bad, man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is kind of going to be a reverse of how we normally do it, because you're usually like, I have a lot of bad, but that's because I really like this movie. And I'm like, I have a lot of likes because I really like this movie. And a few bads. And I think it's maybe flipped, although I think that you really like this movie as well.
I love this movie.
Yeah. And I love this movie also. So yeah, my goods just like aren't that interesting because they're pretty standard. But I have a list of bads.
Yeah, let's go. What's your bad?
Okay,
let's tear this movie apart.
I absolutely hate it that Charlie is in a worse financial situation after the events of the movie than he was at the beginning. Like I said, I think the setup is so good. I think the space stuff, you can kind of take it or leave it. You could probably trim it down, do whatever. But I think all of the stuff with Charlie and his family at the beginning is just a great setup. And part of that is that they don't have enough money. They have to rent their room, the garage, to this lunatic because they don't have any money. And he's got to go ask for a raise. And eventually he learns to stick up for himself and he quits. But they needed to give him something. And I think they could have done a few different things just very easily. One, I think that when they first meet the Hulk, they could have talked about price and money and stuff, and he could have been like, "Oh, I have money, but it's all French, and so I got to get it converted." And then at the very end of the movie, where they're saying their goodbyes, he could give him a briefcase and say, "Oh, by the way, here's your rent." And he's like, "Oh, great Scott, that's $500,000." Like,
right. No, I see your point, and I'm going to agree with it most of the way. The only pushback I'll have is that the reason they need money is because he won't stand up for himself.
Right.
And he learns to stand up for himself. And so we don't know what they're going to do to get by, but I have faith that this new version of Charlie will find a way to do it.
Well, all he does is he like commits a crime. He like destroys public property.
I think he might even become a bank robber. He's
Like,
got the weapon.
He's just going to go to jail, and his family is going to be even more destitute. But so here's the two other ideas that I have.
Okay.
One, so I told you the first idea. The second idea, I think they could have leaned into the we're going to crisscross our worlds here, right? Like Hulk Hogan's going to take an Earth woman, and he could have offered Charlie basically like, oh, I know some intergalactic architects that would be interested in what you're making, because we never actually like see any of his designs.
Right.
Well, no, we do a little
see the
bit.
first one. Yeah, because he has the arch.
But they could have had the boss like not like his designs and be like, what do you think this is? The future? We can't build this. And then at the end, it's like he's going to go to space. So Hulk is taking a bit of Earth with him, and Charlie is having an opportunity to go to space.
And I love that idea. I think that ties it in so much more. Something easy they could have done is the Japanese business people say, oh, you're the one who actually made this design, and you just quit. Well, we're coming with you.
Right.
Again, something really small. And I think it would have made it a stronger story. But I don't think, I still, when I watch the movie, feel like the family's going to be just fine. He's overcome the flaw that kept them from not having money. Yeah, he quit his job, but I still feel like he's going to be okay. But I agree with you. It would have been a stronger movie if they would have actually spelled that out.
Well, and here's my third possibility, which also goes into another one of my bads. The opening credits showed Charlie building something in the garage.
Correct.
And after he's had a bad day, he's getting ready to go back into his garage, but it's been turned into a bedroom that never comes back. What was he building in his garage? And that needed to come out in the third act as something that helps them. Like 100%. He needed to pull out an Iron Man suit or something.
100%. Or he needed to be like, oh, I can tweak this. Oh, yeah. He's like, well, you don't understand space technology. He's like, oh, actually, it works just like this and this.
One 100%. Of my favorite lines. One of my favorite lines is when Charlie's like, oh, do you really think that's going to work? Shut up. Like,
it's a great line. Yeah.
Just like, it's like someone who like doesn't know anything about.
Well, and it felt doing. Like,
I just love it.
It felt like the dads from late 80s, early 90s shows. And I'm thinking like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or something, like, you know, it's the nerdy dad into something and that causes something, right?
Yeah.
And this, there's no payoff. What was he? He obviously loved tinkering and building stuff because that's how he decompressed from his job that he hated. Right.
Yeah.
And so it should have come back in some act 3 way to help, or it should have come back in something at the end where he's going to make money. Now I'll have time to finish this thing I've been trying to build. I'll have the time and some of the alien technology, and we're going to make iPhones, right? We're going to make something so far advanced that they're going to be billionaires.
Yeah, exactly.
So I agree. That's also bad. Yeah. It's just,
So my other bads, we never really got to know the family at all. Like I couldn't pick those kids out of a lineup. We got a little bit with the son.
A little bit.
Got barely anything with the daughter. The most that she got was being captured by the bad guy and like him holding a gun on her for a while.
I mean, is probably what most daughters in most action movies is the most they get.
Yeah, well, I needed more.
Yeah, they need more. I agree. Both kids were underserved and underdeveloped. 100%. I agree with you.
And I mentioned this before that I don't like that we never saw the Colonel again, but I also don't like that we didn't see the car guys again. See, like me, I think you hit the nail on the head with, this is like the Burbs, where the whole neighborhood basically comes together to make this story happen. And I just really wish that in the end, these people would have come back. The Colonel would have come back like, I know how to use one of these, and he's got like a tank going, or they're like, oh, we're never gonna get there in time. And then Christopher Lloyd's like, I know how we can get there. And then they look over at the race cars.
100%.
Right? Like I wanted that all to come back and connect. And that's what I mean by like just so many loose threads. There's so many things that I wanted to see tie in together.
Yep. And that's good storytelling, where you like use what you already have, right? Bring it back. Yeah. They totally should have had the cars, the drag racing, and they should have used, I mean, they do use his you gotta lose to win, but they should have had a little bit more. They should have had more with the kids. They could have had, instead of like the neighborhood kids with the skateboard, they could have had more scenes with the son and daughter. Instead of some of the sight gags and some of the fun and games, they could have focused with the son and daughter. Another thing that's underutilized is the idea that the son and daughter look up to Hogan more than they do the dad, which was a huge trope in the late 80s, early 90s in family films of like, this guy feels emasculated because this new neighbor, this new person in their life is everything he dreams he could be. He's stronger, he's tougher, he's flashier, and so the kids automatically look up to him.
And you didn't get that out of this movie?
I got it a little bit, but I thought they could have done it more.
Yeah, I think that would have been much better motivation for him to follow Ramsey around than just being like, I think he's dangerous, which is a perfectly fine reason to follow him around.
Which is a perfectly fine reason to follow him.
But we already know that he's not sticking up for himself. So I don't know. I could maybe go back and forth on that, because like maybe that's giving us the seeds of showing that he's capable of more, that he is interested in protecting his family and taking care of them. But I agree with your point that could have come out more, and that maybe would have made it stronger. I'm just trying to think of like where that would have come out.
When he goes back to try and kick him out the first time and he sees him lifting his old tools, when the kids, it's a great scene. And then the kid comes out and says, hey, I got to get to school. You could have had the kids come in and be like, oh man, you couldn't even move that, Dad. You know what I mean? Like, or like, oh, he's so strong, or like, he's going to take us to France. There's so many different little bits where you could have the kids saying something in front of Charlie to get him to be jealous of Shep.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, I think a lot of these bads are just because we like the movie so much, and because it's actually a really good movie, that we wish it was just a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want more of it. I want it. I don't want a TV series of this, because I think that would really outplay the concept.
Right.
But I just wanted more. Like I said, I could have used 10 more minutes.
I could have used 10 more minutes of what we talked about, and 5 or 10 less minutes of the quipping one-liners and sight gags. Although some of them I utterly love, but I think you could have married those two together.
Yeah. Well, they could have spread them out more and not made it just a big chunk. Yeah.
Right. And if you had their kids seeing him do this sight gag, then you're also building that idea of jealousy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My last bad, and then we can move on. I didn't care for the music in this movie. It was a little too kiddie. Like when you're saying like, were this a family movie rather than a kids movie? The music of this took it square into the kids category.
I thought it started out just fine, but by the second half of Act 2 and Act 3, it got way too kiddie and cartoony for me, which normally I love, but again, it just felt like tonally slightly off from what the film could have been.
The beginning, all this stuff in space, I thought was like so campy and so corny, and not remembering how this movie goes, I was wondering like, oh, is this going to turn out to be like a TV show? and then the kids like meet him in real life or something like that. Like I
Right.
thought it was going to be like I thought the camera was going to pan out and we'd see this
And
all
they were
taking
like
place on a
watching the
TV.
show, and then like he's a down and out actor who has to move in with him or something, not an
Yeah,
actual space alien.
yeah.
Gotcha.
That,
Yeah,
that's more like Santa with muscles, I think, isn't it?
right. Yeah, that's total Santa with muscles. But this is it's super cheesy and campy in the beginning, but it's also that fits in that area. I think where it totally just went off the rails for me is the big battle, the tag team battle with the Undertaker is where it just got so Looney Tunes. And some of that I loved, but also I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I liked it. I think the music could have been better and made it not. It's weird to say make it not so kiddie, because I love like the outlines of people in the wall and getting his head smashed in the toilet and stuff. But it sounded just so immature.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Yeah.
And also this isn't really a bad, but I think they really missed an opportunity with having a better disco song in the place where he landed.
That's a great moment. Like when the disco song comes on, great callback, but the music is just okay.
Like I'm not a disco aficionado, so maybe this was a hit at one point in time. I feel like since I didn't recognize it, it's not a good enough hit.
Right. And again, what can they afford?
Well, and I think it would have been worth it for them to like dish out whatever extra cash they needed
for that gag. Like, for just making a $12 million budget and let's get Staying Alive. Come on, people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's in a fight, so they need to stay alive, right?
Yeah, like just I think it could have been. I know other movies have done it. You know, like you think of in Shaun of the Dead, they're like beating up zombies to Dancing Queen or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. It's been done well, and they could have done it before that. You know.
Yes, there are some great needle drops in modern cinema, and this would have been a opportunity for a better needle drop. You're 100% correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move into bad. We've been in bad. Let's move into good. I'll go first. Yeah. Let's get out of bad.
What's
I'll
good
go first, just because, like I said, I love this movie, but my goods are just so generic, right?
Again, I got one good I want to talk to you about thoroughly. So this is good. What do you got?
Like I said, I think it's a great setup and a great premise. It's so fun. The movie itself is fun. It's entertaining the whole way through. We talk a lot about maybe gags being overused, but man, there are some great gags in this. There's some great one-liners. There are some great sight gags. I was frozen today. Like it. There's just so much good in there. The movie is so fun. The acting is really good. I know
so good.
People could maybe not like Hulk Hogan's acting, but in this, for what it is, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, he's playing himself, so it's fine. Was he a great actor? You're missing the point.
Yeah, I mean, I came to see Hulk Hogan play a space commando in a suburban neighborhood, right?
And the people they surround him with are like A-list, top-notch, great actors. This is, I mean, when I get to my good, we'll talk about that. But yeah, keep going.
And then just the last one I'll throw out there. I mean, you mentioned that there's some cheesy special effects, but there's also some really great special effects. The bad guy monster at the end when he fully transforms and looks so good.
So good. And they did such a great job with that, because you get teased with it at the very beginning of the movie when you see that cool claw and you're like, that's some Stan Winston stuff right there. That is awesome. I want to see more. And that's all you get. Right. And then at the end, they give you the whole monster. And I don't know how much they spent, but it was money well spent. That was
exactly.
So
quick question. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up, because this is a mystery that has plagued me since childhood. Mm-hmm. What does the president throw at Suter in the beginning to cut his hand off? Is it a letter? Does he throw a letter at him?
It looks, I mean, it was a very kind of Gambit kind of move, right? Like, did he charge it up with explosives first? Because it looks like a white postcard or a letter. It looks like
that's
a letter.
maybe the most bizarre part of the movie to
And
me,
it just
because
cuts
like
his
I
hand
can't
off
rationalize
perfect.
it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
man, that's a cool president. I want his story. What's his movie? Right? Maybe he
Yeah.
lived too. You know, you never know.
Yeah, right. All right. Tell me
Okay.
you're good, and let's deep dive the good.
Okay. So the quick rattle off the cast, man.
Mm-hmm.
What? Like, this is some high pedigree. This is so amazing. The cartooniness of it. We've talked about how it got a little too in points, but man, some of it was just this dude. You could tell that he'd been around the block as a director and saw some cartoons. Like, yeah, it was quality. And so we've talked about how there's, you know, too much fun and games. You've talked about how there's pieces that don't tie together, and there's callbacks that should be that aren't there. And these are all bad, but the main good in this is the rock solid, almost perfect structure. The cause and effect chain is so insanely good and built around Charlie Wilcox's character arc and flaw. And it like develops the plot so perfectly. I'm like, this is what a lot of modern movies are missing.
Yeah.
Like,
I 100% agree.
Cut there for a second. You 100%.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Agree.
You left me hanging.
I'm on board.
All right. Cool. And I just want to kind of go through a little bit of it because it's so like, it just floored me. I'm like, just like the cast, like this structure is so good. And like, yeah, the stuff that hung on the structure was kind of cheesy, and some of it was lame, and some of it was kiddie, but like the bones were solid. So it opens with Christopher Lloyd's flaw, right? Mm-hmm. They need money. He needs to.
I want you to back up. It opens up with Shep Ramsey.
It opens up with the cold open of Shep and his.
But the cold open leads to him getting to Earth.
Correct. So it opens with Shep. He is he's burning both ends of the candle. He needs a vacation. He's getting forced to take a vacation. The closest planet is Earth. He's going to Earth. So you have a comet coming at Earth, right, in the form of Shep, and it's going to meet up with Christopher Lloyd in the greatest way. So then we cut to Christopher Lloyd. They need money. He needs to ask for a raise. He says, I can stand up, you know, when it counts, but we realize he's meek, he's weak, and he's not going to stand up for himself, and his family is suffering. Then we cut to him trying to like rehearse asking for a raise. He goes in, can't do it, gets schmoozed over, kicked out. We're like, yeah, okay, we know what this guy needs to learn to do. Now, because of this flaw, they need money. And so the question is, will he overcome the flaw? And we realize that he needs to learn to stick up for himself like Shep does. So we see who's going to teach him to overcome the flaw. But because of it, they need money. So what do? She converts his shed into an apartment, which is completely based out of character. Because
he can't say no to it because he's weak. He can't be like, absolutely not. Like he's upset.
Yeah, he's upset.
But he doesn't put his foot down on it.
He's weak, but also they need money because he's weak. And so that's the apartment for rent sign. And he shows up. I'm like, that's such a smart thing to get them to meet with each other. Like it's so
simple.
It's so simple, and it just all flows out of the main character's flaw. I think that Christopher Lloyd is the main character in the movie. I mean, it's definitely a two-hander, and you can say, but I think Shep is actually a subplot.
Yeah,
to help Christopher Lloyd. Then, you know, he's jealous of the guy. He wants to kick him out. He sees the alien gun. He thinks it's dangerous for the kids. He can't kick him out because he's weak. But then also, I can't remember what Shep does, but he does something nice there. Or he tells him to call him Shep. And it's that little bit of like, like he was gonna go kick him out, but he's too weak to do it, and he's afraid of this guy lifting these weights.
Yeah.
But then he's like, oh, but this guy told me to call him Shep, and it's a small bit of nice. He goes and he sees the guns. He goes to investigate. Then he shoots a gun, blows up the car, which never gets resolved, which is not good. That's another callback that they should have done. So there's the danger. He follows him. Now, the following him could have been better, but I still really like it because he's seeing that Shep does good. He might be a fish out of water, but he's doing good.
Well, to go back to that gun, and what I was kind of getting at with the for rent sign, there's a lot of things in this movie that don't make sense, and you can write that off as cartoon logic.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay that the car on fire doesn't get resolved because you hear the sirens and stuff in the background. That's the joke. We move on.
Right.
But you look at the apartment for rent or whatever, it just says like for rent and it has an arrow on it.
Yes.
Right? Like totally not enough information in the world to give anybody any sort of direction.
Yes, I assume there's other signs along the way.
Everything that comes after the previous thing, it all flows together so well that it's easy to like overlook a lot of the bad. Everything naturally flows from the other.
Yeah, it's just crazy how one thing, like the plot flows out of character so well. And then he sees the alien spaceship, and then he goes, and then, you know, the gag is that the key is under the car, right? Is under the spaceship. So he opens it up. Then he sees the suit and the X-ray vision, and he sees a woman in distress. And so this is his first shot of like, well, can you stand up? And he's like, well, I have this super strength armor, which he understands because he's kind of a scientist guy. Again, that callback to the beginning, although we don't see it enough. Right. So then he goes to fight them, but then they're like, well, I'll just shoot you. And then he's like, oh, but no, I can't. Never mind. Let's talk about this. He backtracks immediately. And then he kind of like finds a way to get the power suit turned on and fumbles his way through doing the right thing and saving her. Mm-hmm. But because he doesn't know what he's doing, he leaves the gun charging, and that draws the bounty hunters in. Mm-hmm. Like it all just flows so well together. I'm like,
cause and effect all the way.
The cause and effect, all based from a character trait. Like it's just such great storytelling and structure. And again, the stuff they hung on it might not be your cup of tea, but man, it just continues that way all the way through the end.
Yeah.
And then he does stand up for himself, and he quits, and they do all the gags that he had. He goes back and redoes them, and probably weakens it a little bit because they could have had him showing how he's going to make money or save his family. But I still really feel like because he learned his lesson, I feel 100% that he is going to take care of his family. Yeah. And I think that on the B plot with Shep, he learned that family's important and that it's not just about work. And you know, he said he's been going his whole life. He doesn't know how to take a break.
What he really needed in his life was a woman.
Correct. Which was also, you know, just an over the top caricature of the secretary, but I also really liked her.
Dude, I loved her with the gun, like how she was immediately ready to rock and roll, like pulling out the pistol. Like
you could tell like the cheesy sexual tension between the two of them the second it happened. It was so over the top, and it totally fit. And I was like, oh, this is so. When she popped out at the end in the spaceship, I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
You're
and again,
absolutely.
That's absolutely, and that feels more like the family film type vibe as opposed to like a kiddie film. Mm-hmm. Which these terms are not. They're just for this podcast only. This is not official.
Not official lingo,
yeah,
for sure. Well, man, I think you've had some great insights to this movie. I think we are wrapping up this podcast.
It's good.
Sad to see the Hulkster go. May Hulkamania live on forever.
Right.
not next week, 2 weeks from now, we are getting back to our regularly scheduled program. We're going to watch The Redwood Massacre. It is a independent English slasher. You can watch it for free on YouTube. So check it out and then stop by here. And let's talk all about it. We want you to jump in the chat and tell us your thoughts, and we will put them up on the screen and we'll talk all about it. Anyway, I'm Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson. This is Chris Anonymous. We've been compelled by Schlock, and we will see you next time. Schlock on, everybody. Bye.
Schlocky, schlock.